In March 2020, Ghana, Liberia, and Sierra Leone were part of the first few African countries that recorded their index COVID-19 case. Following its discovery, the government across all levels made frantic efforts towards containing the spread of the virus. This unprecedented development ushered in spontaneous financial responsibility and expenditure, which are requisite for keeping the health sector as well as the nation's economy afloat. As a response to the emergency situation, funds were raised by the respective governments either as loans, donations from the private sector, or grants from international bodies, with Ghana raising $1.6 billion, Sierra Leone $264.2 million, and Liberia $189.6 million. The government of these countries also imposed a lockdown as a necessary measure to curtail the outbreak.
All Liberians are to stay at home for the next 14 days beginning.
This, however, has dealt a devastating blow to these countries, crippling the economy and also plunging individuals into untold hardship.
Pacho na pomo to say, Juma to say. Pacho, coronavirus started, no. It do time be a binding lock here down. It affect your business.
And the baby. The lockdown affected me greatly. And not only me, but every woman in the eastern region were affected by the lockdown, especially those that are coming from the surrounding villages. It was by His grace, even though it was not easy, but we have to manage. But I tell you, before the lockdown, people that used to eat 3 times a day, during the lockdown, they used to eat once in a day. Some homes, they have to eat twice in a day. And even that was never enough, especially for the children. And that has to affect the children greatly.
They can't bring a lot down here. The country will all rest small, but now, send a lot down, can't they go around the country, nothing, no business, they put on buying.
During the lockdown, team were not really working fine. Team were not working fine due to the sickness. But before the sickness, business was going real well with us. Team were going on fine, they were buying from us. But after the lockdown now, things not really going fine. Because during that time, I can remember before the lockdown, the rate was about 201.
To cushion the effect of the pandemic, the respective governments promised several interventions, including the distribution of palliatives to the vulnerable, provision of free electricity and water supply, and other targeted interventions. However, these promised interventions were either grossly inadequate or non-existent. In Ghana, for example, the palliatives were diverted for political purposes. Sierra Leone had instances of misappropriation and mismanagement of donations, while Liberia saw a breach of the COVID-19 IMS bank accounts and signatories, to mention but a few.
If you are for free, if going in square, or you should go free, light can move over here, darling.
Pacho, no fear for a buy no Emma free water, free lights. Munyabi, a bit bamboo, or fear no area or community outing.
Every month, the water bill back. Free light in the top prepaid in the
The person will not vote for them, they get your arrest. Because when I see you Japan nothing, will not vote for them, they get your arrest. And will labyrinth, they carry one party, anybody who won't vote for that person will vote for. Will labyrinth, but will not vote for that person, they get your arrest. And I pick and choose the post doing in the government. Money or wow, will not see nothing. They go out far, will not see no money. We can run 3 o'clock go. We can receive no money. We can hear over radio, but we can receive it. We can see it. We're not seeing it. We just hearing it.
The pandemic also exposed Africa's weak healthcare infrastructure, as frontline workers had to risk exposure to the virus due to the inadequate provision of personal protective equipment PPE, while trying to provide care for patients in ill-equipped healthcare facilities. But where government assistance came in far between, the private sector and non-governmental organizations rose to the occasion.
From the start, it was mainly by benevolent societies, and Ghanaians really did well from the start. Corporate bodies, churches, and individuals, they troop in quickly with their donations, and that really helped.
For survivors, the experience was not limited to the fear and uncertainty of contracting a novel virus that has no cure, but also of lack of government provision for adequate treatment and care.
No free medicine, no. They're not able to give care medicine by them. So I don't know, 10 days, no food, better food not be there. And when you find where they go food, they tell us they're not giving no food because of the COVID-19 medicine not get them.
Or will not get adequate medical supplies. Now we facilitate for manage COVID-19 cases. Remember, there comes a time where we can run out of stock. So due to that, we will get inadequate medical supplies for manage the cases that will be getting award.
CTAP's core objective is to track all COVID-19 intervention funds in Africa and join with citizens to hold their respective governments to a high standard of accountability and transparency. While most of the government have not been forthcoming in this regard, citizens must not relent in their demand for accountability. While the COVID-19 lockdown has since been lifted, the economic implications are still ravaging lives and livelihoods. This calls for a robust response from the government and a utilization of scarce resources for the benefit of the people.